Welcome back to the eNCA corruption scorecard. Now, 21 years ago, the arms deal scandal shook the fibre of our country's moral compass. And those at the forefront of that deal, in which the country lost billions, are still to be held to account. As former President Jacob Zuma prepares for trial next month, the pertinent question is, who else should be in the dock with him? Open Secrets Director Henny van Vieren and political analyst Susan Boyson join me now to reopen the wounds that have left a terrible scar on this country. Good afternoon to both of you. Let me start with you, Henny van Vieren. We'll learn now that, in October, we are scheduled to make the final payments for the loans that we took as part of the purchases of naval and air force equipment. And yet, in as far as the other anniversary is concerned, this coming Friday will be exactly a year since the Seriti Commission of Inquiry report was reviewed and set aside for not being vigorous enough, in essence, a sham. Are you surprised that there's been no movement since that judgment last year?
Thanks, Tulasi's. Well, indeed, I think, as you say, the wound is not about opening the wound. The wound is wide open. The point made, as you say, is that we are still repaying those the loans, and the total amount. I think importantly, as you pointed out, the impact of this corruption in your editorial at the beginning of this interview is important to note. And the total cash amount is 142 billion rand. That's new evidence that came out today by my colleague Paul Holden from Shadow World Investigations, who's looked at the real cost of the arms deal in hard cash value. I think, the impact has been obviously felt by ordinary people, and it's made the issue of accountability not only an academic one or an interesting one. I think it's imperative not only to achieve social justice, but also to ensure that South Africans have faith and trust in our democratic institutions. And of course, one of the elements or the pillars of that is the judiciary. And your point around it being a year since a high court overturned the findings of the Seriti Commission. Our state spent tens of millions of rands into a commission that was a sham and a cover-up. And rightly so, another court has looked at the matter and concluded the same. And I think it's critical that we find ways to hold people like Judges Seriti and Musi to account for that sham and that cover-up, so that we don't go through the same pain that we have in terms of cover-ups in future.
Yeah. Professor Susan Boyson, which would serve our nation's interest best, given where we are? Pursuing this case, as old as it is, this cold case from 1999, and following all those, going down all those rabbit holes in terms of the names that come up from time to time of people that at the very least should be asked questions? Or would it be to simply let it go and say, listen, it was a dark chapter, let's move on from it?
I'm certainly school that believes that dig out, dig up, and because it is root of big cases, so many big cases that have involved South Africa in the course of the last 20 years or so, and it is very important that we get to the root of it, because if we do not, that is the foundation for so much of the corruption that followed in the time since. And by doing the right thing and ensuring that justice is done, I believe that it is the only way that ANC can really convince people out there that
Professor Boyson, we seem to be having a bit of a challenge with your line. I tell you what we will do. We'll take a quick break and we'll continue with this conversation in just a moment. The team will redial and see if we can get you on a better line.